right. Well, welcome to another Lightning Strikes Twice, the super condensed lightning round that Casey and I do. We got 5 minutes to discuss a topic that each of us brings up, the other one doesn't know about. And yeah, I think you're up, Casey. So take it away.
So I'm super stoked about this one. I just heard about it like 10 minutes ago, so I don't know everything. So it's kind of perfect for a lightning strikes twice. But if you could live forever, would you?
Ooh, I don't know about forever, but for longer, like because I think one of the problems with life being so short is that you can't learn all the things that you want to learn, and you can't do like accomplish the things you want to accomplish.
Right.
Like that's like I mean, because it takes so much time just to learn a particular thing in a kind of to become an expert at something, um, and it could be your entire life, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to do something with that knowledge, and maybe that takes a long time. So maybe if we live twice as long or something like not just being a brain in a jar living, but I mean being
Right.
able to actually function as a human being. Like
Yeah.
let's say you age twice the speed or twice half the speed that you normally age or something.
Well, so that's kind of where this recent research is going. My wife just informed me about this. She saw it on TV last night, and we were just looking it up while having dinner. And I'm like astounded. I need to read more about this, but it sounds like they've found a way, and possibly just by adjusting your diet,
Huh.
to roll cells back to an embryonic state,
Hmm.
uh, which is huge, huge.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Holy
like
moly.
we could induce pluripotency in stem cells, but that's kind of like the golden, like the previously unachievable uh, sort of pinnacle of stem cellness, let's say.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the possibilities are endless. Like my nerve damage could be repaired.
Oh
If
yeah.
this came to fruition. And
Huh.
if it's simple as changing your diet, it sounds like the things that they're finding there are Alzheimer's patients might be seeing a benefit.
Oh.
Like you, your body basically kind of gets reset every so often by
Hmm.
just doing this little bit of like a fasting, I guess, few times, few days, few times a year for a number of years, and your body just kind of like starts over a little bit.
Well, people have for a long time been talking about the benefits of intermittent fasting.
Yeah,
I mean,
and there probably is something to that. I mean, a lot of fad diets are kind of goofball, and in fairness, sometimes that has more to do with how well people stick to those diets.
yeah, that is the problem, isn't
Because
it?
the thing with fasting is you can't cheat or
Hmm.
you ruin the whole thing. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because like, oh, I'm just as we've heard about like way back in the day in biblical times, right? People fasting, they've like intentionally fasted for a long time, and apparently, if the the documented ages are correct, they seem to live quite long.
yeah, like maybe there's something to like aliens coming, giving us the mana machine and giving us good advice on how to eat,
Hmm.
and and we actually did live super long.
Yeah. And then as we developed more complex societies and cities and things, we kind of lost track of all that ancient stuff that we used to do.
Well, here's the catch, though: is the bioethics angle is, well, if people start living longer, where do we all go? Like,
Well, yeah. Okay, well then here's the thing too, because that might change the way like maybe people. Well, we're already seeing in a lot of developed countries this trend towards not having kids at all, or only just one kid or two, a lot fewer.
mhm.
So I think as long as that is kept up with, which might just kind of naturally happen because people are like, oh my god, I gotta have a kid now before it's too late, and so
Yeah,
they kind of jump the gun in that regard. So maybe if you had a lot more time, you'd be
right.
more inclined to wait, and then by the time you might be thinking about it, you're a lot more wise and can make better decisions. And by that point, you might be like, I don't need any kids. I got enough friends and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a problem in that
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, there's other ethical considerations to be made with that, such as the eugenics problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know that like, I mean, especially if you're just adjusting your diet, I don't necessarily think that there's any way to like overlord and control that to where you're like directing evolution necessarily.
No. Oh, that's
Oh,
time. That's a pretty
damn.
good one. Man, all these seem to be like episode seeds, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because there's so
Well,
many things we could talk about there.
I do want to research that a little bit more. I think I found a paper on it here in PubMed, but yeah, I definitely want to.
Well, maybe
Um,
like we could do an episode on it after you've learned a little more about it. And
yeah,
then that way we're coming at it a little more knowledgeable.
yeah, yeah. It's been a while since we did a biology related episode or
Yeah.
anything, so that's kind of been my that's kind of getting me all jazzed up.
Well, for sure. Okay,
I've been
so
out of the lab for a while, so
so mine, I guess here we'll go into mine. Mine's kind of tomfoolery, kind of science, I guess.
all
So
right.
in Star Trek, like I'm just thinking about TNG because I've been watching a lot of it. Um, why is it that when at warp speed they can see stars?
Hmm.
Because you shouldn't be able to see if you're going faster than light. You shouldn't be able to see anything at all.
Right. Yeah, that's a well. Well, quick aside, are you watching a lot of TNG because of all those DVDs out of
Yes, yes, I've been going through them. Yep,
it?
yep.
Right on, right on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, yes, going faster than the speed of light would mean that like everything within a certain radius you couldn't really see, but there are like still super far away stars and stuff that I mean, even the streaking could make sense as a red shift, blue shift stuff.
Well, I mean, at least they tried with that. But I mean, the point is they'd be overtaking any photon at all, like all of them. And so if there's a star,
Hmm.
say, emitting light, the stream of photons coming towards you, you'd only barely nick a few of them as you're traveling through. So, I mean, I guess if you saw anything, it'd be really, really dark.
Either that or just an immense, like, probably more like what the wormholes in Star Trek look like. You know, just like a bunch of beautiful colors all around you, just constantly
That
swirling.
that might be what, because then you're picking up photons from all over the
Yeah.
place that wouldn't necessarily, yeah, because you'd be going through every angle all at once essentially.
Yeah,
uh,
because we can theorize all we want about how light works, but once we well, if we could ever step onto the other side of that barrier and
mhm.
experience it, we might be surprised. I mean, the James Webb
Yeah.
telescope is showing us how bright space actually is.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, like how
like
full
there's a
it
lot of
is.
color and light
Yeah.
out.
Well, another thing too is like that I always kind of wonder because like sensors during warp, like how are they able to use the kinds of sensors that they use, like detecting things while going like warp 9? They can like,
Right, right.
oh, there's a ship over there or something. Like how would you? Because a lot of sensors would be not passive but active, so you're sending out a signal and it reflects and comes back. So, well, if you
Huh.
sent the signal out, you're moving so fast that by the time it comes back, it's coming back to where you were, before.
Well, and I always thought like if there's so much shit floating around in space, like teeny tiny stuff,
Yeah,
and you're going at warp, like wouldn't you like smash right into it and just explode? But
I
I
guess
mean,
that's what the
they kind of
deflectors are for.
explain that with the whole like subspace thing and like
Yeah,
slipping underneath the layer of
I
space or
suppose
whatever.
like the deflectors would take care of small little things, but then I think it's like pre-calculated. Like, okay, the computer analyzes all of the things that are in the path and kind of determines a course to avoid running into stuff. I, I
Yeah.
gotta say, it would be really scary though the first time we do warp. Like, what the hell's gonna happen here?
Right.
It could be something
Yeah.
like Event Horizon, where you go to another dimension or something that's like hell or whatever. You know that. Great movie, by the way.
Oh boy. Yeah. Huh. I let's invent a warp drive and see what happens.
Yeah, there we go. I mean,
Or
you know, we'll test it.
that seems like something the Russians would do, and they'd like send a monkey or something.
Yeah. Well, I think today it would be the Chinese. They're kind of on the cutting edge of space stuff now,
Hmm.
which is cool. Like they got their own space station now.
Yeah.
I guess they weren't like part of the old boys club when they built the ISS or something. I don't know. They were excluded. They're like, well, fine, I'll do it myself.
Did you just call me an asshole?
Yes, I did. If I could have said that, if I knew Chinese, I would have said that in Chinese. Oh
If
man.
you prefer, I could translate it to Mandarin.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of weird things. I mean, I guess like the Star Trek, especially TNG, tried to be very scientifically plausible,
Mhm.
and I mean, obviously, there's certain things that I guess for the sake of it being an entertaining show, they probably had to kind of, you know, nudge a little outside into fantasy territory a
Yeah.
bit. It makes
And you
sense.
know, it could be instead of stars, we might be seeing like very, very distant galaxies or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah.
Because, you know, like no matter what, if you're going along like this is
Oh.
like 550 million billion jillion thousand light years away. Like
Mhm.
you're going faster than the speed of light, but it's still there. Like
Oh
your
yeah, yeah.
vantage point would, yeah,
Oh, it's
I think,
crazy.
yeah,
That's good. Well, that was time. I don't know if you heard that, but
yeah. But I was like, I
yeah,
can't leave that one
carry that.
hanging.
Finish your sentence. That's a rule that we have. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hope everybody enjoyed that one. That was man. It just flew by. I thought
At warp speed.
yeah. Engage.